these poor little girls. They didn't ask to have their lives taken away. Somebody out there did it.
Whoever did this to my nieces, they super crazy. These are sick people out here. We don't want no fight. We want answers.
It's the last thing I think of at the end of the day. I don't think anything's bothered me more than what's occurred in Carroll County, Indiana in my entire lifetime.
I just hope and pray for justice.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us as we look to the case of 4 Indiana girls killed in an arson.
This day marks 1 year since someone set fire to a Flora home with 4 sisters inside, and the family is still no closer to answers.
RTV6's Chance Walser got a chance to talk with people whose lives the girls touched as we follow the investigation.
It's been a year since an arsonist set fire to this house, killing 4 young girls. And although investigators have not made any arrests in the case, this community is far from giving up hope.
Every year I go out to school for Veterans Day.
November 11th, 2016, 9-year-old Kiara Phillips handed Charles Simpson a gift that means even more now than it did then.
She came up to me and just looked at me and smiled. I'll never get the smile. Said, "I love you," and gave me the card.
10 days later, investigators say someone set fire to Kiara's house, killing her and her 3 sisters, Kiana, Cariel, and Keone. That handwritten card reads as follows.
On the outside it says, "Thank you. You're a veteran, you gave us freedom, and you are brave. You can protecting us and have a happy Veterans Day. Sincerely, Kiara. I love you, from Kiara."
For the last year, Charles and his wife Joyce have worked to increase the reward money for information that leads to the arsonist. Right now, she's selling cookbooks that contain some of the girls' favorite recipes.
We lost 4 little girls in our community. And every time you would go by their house and everything, they would be outside playing, waving.
Now that house sits unlivable, charred and boarded up, the center of an investigation that has come under public scrutiny. In October of this year, the family requested that the NAACP get involved on their behalf.
Nobody's been brought to justice. Nobody is talking to the family to even update them on the status of the investigation.
Less than 3 weeks later, the Carroll County prosecutor and Flora fire chief announced their resignations, raising even more questions.
Thank you for being here and giving me a chance.
In a recent press conference, State Police Superintendent Doug Carter said keeping the family apprised of all case developments could jeopardize its integrity.
Everybody's a suspect until they're not.
He also refuted suggestions of a cover-up or that the girl's race is a factor in the case's slow progress.
I hope one day I can look into the eyes of a person that killed 4 little girls and then explain to you what we knew and when. But criticize me all you want to. I'm not going to do it today.
In loving memory of all my babies.
Joyce reads a letter inserted in her cookbook submitted by the mother of those girls who have come to be known as Flora's 4 Angels.
November the 21st, 2016 is the day I will never forget.
Gone.
I just couldn't imagine losing all 4 of my kids.
But certainly not forgotten.
We aren't going to let this die.
Chance Walser, RTV6.
Now to a closer look at the timeline of the Flora case. The investigation started 1 year ago today on November 21st, 2016. Initially, investigators did not have a cause. Then, in late January, state police ruled it arson. In June, after repeated media probes, investigators confirmed they were interviewing persons of interest, but they said they had no suspects. Then, earlier this month, the Carroll County prosecutor announced his resignation, followed by a similar announcement from Flora's fire chief.
Now, tonight, the Carroll County community is gathering for a vigil to remember the 4 Flora sisters. It's scheduled to start in about an hour at 6 o'clock. We will have live coverage coming up on the news at 6.
The Marion County coroner has determined that Dr. Kevin Rogers, who was found dead in his home yesterday, was killed by a gunshot.
Today, neighbors are sharing their reactions with us on that, and we're hearing more about the tremendous accomplishment Dr. Rogers made to the community in medicine and in coaching. RTV6's Derek Thomas has his story.
Today in the neighborhood, it was quiet. Very few people were stirring. But behind the scenes, some were upgrading their security. Workmen were repositioning and refurbishing surveillance cameras at Ellis Brewer's house. He lives just down the street from where Dr. Kevin Rogers was murdered.
Me and the neighbors talked this morning, and we was talking about the updating security and also our firearms. So We're going to be looking out for each other when we're in and out of town, the holiday season, and throughout the rest of the year.
Dr. Rogers spent so many years working as a professor at IU Medical School and so many years as a volunteer lacrosse and team doctor at Cathedral High School. The players and coaches are devastated.
Everybody just truly, truly loved him, and there's going to be a giant hole that pales in comparison to the hole that I'm sure his family's feeling, but there's going to be a continued hole for seasons to come.
An autopsy determined that Rogers' cause of death was a gunshot. Police say they are getting good leads from information from the public and encourage that pipeline.
There's information that we do know. We can't share it with you at this time, but we want you to keep pouring that information into us.
The testimonials keep pouring in as to what kind of person Dr. Rogers was. He was gruff, he was good, he should not be gone. Derek Thomas, RTV 6.
Right now, we're tracking a deadly shooting that sparked school lockdowns, plus an urgent alert for parents in central Indiana. RTV 6's Beth Vaughn joins us with the latest now from the live desk. Beth.
Mark, one person is dead after a shooting on the east side this afternoon. It happened just after 12 at the entrance of the Marine Apartments off of 21st Street east of Post Road. Lakeside Elementary School across the street and nearby Warren Central High School were put on lockdown during the investigation. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene next to the car. At least one other person in the car with him was taken in for questioning. Police also took a man, a woman, and a girl in for questioning from one of those apartments.
This is obviously tragic, and it's very disturbing that another incident like this is happening in our city, but we're going to do the best we can to figure out what's going on here.
At this point, police are not releasing the identity of the victim. They're also still questioning witnesses and looking for a motive. And an urgent warning for parents. Police are advising you to wait with your kids at the bus stop after a child was reportedly approached by a stranger. We're learning this happened in Shelbyville yesterday morning near Amos Road and High Point Boulevard. The child says an older African-American man drove up to him in a large black van and asked if the student wanted a ride. The child was able to get away safely along with watching your children at the bus stop, though. Police want you to talk to them about the importance of not speaking with strangers. I'm Beth Vaughn. That's the latest from the live desk.
Thank you, Beth. And we have a warning for holiday shoppers. Just 21 days into November, and Indianapolis has already had 460 car break-ins. Over the weekend, police were called to the Keystone and Castleton shopping areas for 7 break-ins. And thieves smashing car windows. The 86th and 82nd Street corridor has become a popular target during the holidays. We are working for you tonight to figure out what is being done and how you can protect yourself.
You should be able to go out and take care of your business and get along with everybody else, and obviously there shouldn't be any of this going on.
Don't put anything of value that can be readily available, and then something as simple as locking a car door. It sounds kind of funny, but we see a lot of that.
And police say thieves are going car to car, seeing if the door is unlocked and checking for spare keys inside or outside of cars. To prevent this, park in garages or near well-lit areas. Do not leave your car in idle while running into a store. And as shopping season picks up, report crimes when they happen so law enforcement can be made aware of an issue in an area.
Equal rights and giving a voice to the voiceless. That is the motivation behind a renewed push for a hate crime law in Indiana.
RTV6 political reporter Katie Hines is live at the State House, where dozens of people hope to catch lawmakers' attention on the ceremonial kickoff to the new legislative session.
Yeah, Mark and Amanda, that group includes people with disabilities who are hoping to raise awareness to what they consider to be an injustice. But this already looks like it's going to be an uphill climb here at the State House. Members of the Central Indiana Alliance Against Hate are taking their case straight to the State House. The alliance includes members of the Indiana Latino Institute, the Indianapolis Jewish Community Relations Council, the Muslim Alliance of Indiana, and Sikh's PAC. Amber O'Haver of Avon is part of the statewide Independent Living Council. She says hate crimes are common against people with disabilities.
I'm familiar with a few individuals that actually have been institutionalized in nursing homes and that were targeted and raped repeatedly by staff there. And then instead of actually investigating and looking into be removing the staff or firing the staff. They just moved the staff person to another wing of the facility.
Elizabeth Longcore says she's trying to spread the word that approval of a hate crimes law would benefit everyone.
It is the one categorical group that every single person will at some point obtain membership to, whether it's temporary or permanent. That can happen just through congenital birth, illness, accident, or even just the natural progress of aging.
Democrats are calling it a priority. Marion County Prosecutor Terry Curry is joining the fight, but it will likely be an uphill battle here in January. House Speaker Brian Bosma argues there is already a clause in state law that allows judges to consider circumstances, like whether a crime is committed based on a victim's race, gender, or other factors.
It's already there. It's already allowed. Bring the discussion to a close so that we don't get this sense that we're an outlier.
This group says that's not enough. And for the issues that are absolutely expected to come up come January, Republican leaders in the House and Senate say they plan to focus on workforce development, job training, battling the state's drug epidemic. They will return here in the start of January. Reporting live tonight, Katie Hines, RTV 6.
Katie, thank you. Purdue says a new grant program will make it affordable for many middle-income Hoosier students to attend the university. Purdue says the new Boiler Affordability Grant is for Indiana residents at the West Lafayette campus who are pursuing their first bachelor's degree. It will be available to students who are either federal Pell Grant eligible or have a parent-adjusted gross income of $70,000 or less. Purdue says this is aimed specifically at middle-income families,
who now will know ahead of time that they'll be topped up from whatever the FAFSA says and whatever their other grant or public or support might be.
Purdue administrators say they hope this plan will fill the gap for families who were concerned that they could not afford Purdue. They say funding is coming from pooling the university's existing financial resources with money from donors and other savings initiatives.
We have a recall alert you need to hear. IKEA is relaunching its recall of millions of chests and dressers after a 2-year-old boy died when one of the chests tipped over him. Now, it's the 8th death from the recalled furniture. This recall started in 2016. Whitefish Energy is stopping its work restoring power in Puerto Rico, even though it was supposed to work until the end of the month. That's when the controversial contract for the small Montana company ends. It says it's owed $83 million. And tickets are not selling well less than 3 months before the Winter Olympics in South Korea. Organizers have hit just 41% of their sales target. Travel agents tell USA Today fears about North Korea and concerns about travel logistics are two of those issues.
New today, CBS News has now fired veteran journalist Charlie Rose, the latest public figure to face sexual misconduct allegations.
In the words of Rose's former co-anchors, this behavior is wrong and that has to end. Our Kumasi Aaron joins us with the latest.
This I know is true. Women cannot achieve equality in the workplace or in society until there is a reckoning and a taking of responsibility.
Nora O'Donnell and Gail King, who co-anchored CBS This Morning with Charlie Rose, are hoping the latest allegations become a turning point for women as they try to reconcile what's happened.
And I'm really struggling because what do you say when someone that you deeply care about has done something that is so horrible? How do you wrap your brain around that? I'm really grappling with that. That said, Charlie does not get a pass here. He doesn't get a pass from anyone in this room. We are all deeply affected. We are all rocked by this.
CBS News fired Rose today after 8 women told the Washington Post Rose sexually harassed them in the late 1990s through 2011. That included inappropriate phone calls, walking around naked in front of them, and groping them. Charlie Rose issued this statement on Twitter saying, in part, "I deeply apologize for my inappropriate behavior."
This has to end. This behavior is wrong. Period.
It's just one development in the sexual misconduct allegations sweeping the nation. Today, 36 women who used to work on Saturday Night Live released this statement in support of Senator Al Franken, saying even though what he did was stupid and foolish, he is an honorable public servant. Franken has agreed to an ethics investigation after 2 women accused him of sexual misconduct. And there are now calls for an ethics review as Michigan Representative John Conyers, the longest-serving member of the U.S. House of Representatives, acknowledges today his office settled a sexual harassment complaint with a staff member 2 years ago. He denies any wrongdoing. Charlie Rose's co-anchors say this issue is beyond any one person.
I think we have to make this matter to women, the women that have spoken up, the women who have not spoken up because they're afraid. I'm hoping that now they will take the step to speak out too, that this becomes a moment of truth.
And that was Kamasi Aaron reporting. Charlie Rose also used to have a show on PBS and Bloomberg. Today, both ended their relationships with him.
The U.S. is now imposing new sanctions targeting North Korea to try to convince Kim Jong-un to stop developing nuclear weapons. The Treasury Department announced the sanctions today. They include 3 Chinese companies that export nearly $700 million in goods to North Korea, including computers. In all, the Treasury Department is sanctioning 1 person, 13 companies, and 20 ships. The idea here is to isolate North Korea by targeting its ability to trade. The sanctions come a day after President Trump announced the U.S. now considers North Korea a state sponsor of terrorism.
Additional remains of U.S. soldier LaDavid Johnson have been recovered. You'll remember he was one of 4 soldiers killed in patrol in Niger in October. There was controversy after his widow was not allowed to see his body before he was buried last month. And she felt disrespected when President Trump called to offer his condolences. The military and FBI found the remains at the site where the rest of his body was recovered. They're not saying if this will answer any questions about Johnson's death. Meantime, Representative Frederica Wilson is calling for an investigation into why it took more than 48 hours after he was attacked to find his body in the first place.
It's been almost 1 year since 14 people died in some of the largest wildfires the state of Tennessee has ever seen. The city of Gatlinburg is back open for business, but some people still have unanswered questions about how the fires and the evacuation orders were handled. The Stocks family lost the bed and breakfast they had turned into their dream come true. Financially, it's been too much of an uphill challenge for them to rebuild. They ended up moving to North Carolina. Now they're trying to sell their properties in Gatlinburg. They say part of the struggle centers around the many still unanswered questions they have over how the city and county handled the approaching fires. They believe the city was more focused on protecting business interests downtown.
City officials are paid to take care of us and look after us. And that didn't happen here.
I do believe in my heart of hearts, and will believe until the day I die, that everyone did the best that they could with the best information that they had to save lives and save property.
That last lady there who you heard from, Cindy Ogle, the city manager, almost lost her home in the fire and is now rebuilding. She disputes allegations that city leaders waited too long to evacuate. She says the sudden shift in winds led to an unpredictable situation.
Let's take a live look at our Weather Now camera network. A nice blue sky, some clouds out there today, but not as chilly.
Yeah, it was actually a nice day to get outside. You didn't feel that biting cold today, Kevin.
Yet.
It's coming, right?
Yeah.
That's the catch.
Yeah, people in Lafayette are sitting there saying, what are you talking about? Temperatures have dropped to the 30s there. Well, we're still in the 50s south and east of Indy, so 2 different seasons on one map. Couple of rain showers possible. This is the colder air arriving. I would not be surprised if you see a couple melting snowflakes mix in with this before it ends. Driving to the south and east is not very heavy, not that widespread. An indication, though, of the colder temperatures on the way. So we mentioned these showers will be over by 8 or 9 o'clock. The snow may mix in. The ground is warm, not expecting any accumulation from that or travel problems. Temperatures eventually dropping into the 20s, which will be quite a shock. The winds west and southwest out ahead of the cold front. Then it turns to the northwest, as you can see, from Champaign toward Peru. That will drive in the cooler temperatures, and you can see 50 in Columbus, 52, that in Bloomington. Indy's in the 40s, but you just head up I-65. A little over an hour, you get to Lafayette, and temperatures there in the 30s and falling. Colder air will sweep in, and this pink and the blue represents a little rain-snow mix. This quickly moves off to the east by the time we're at 9 o'clock. That's all behind us, and the colder air is settling in. Temperature by 7 o'clock, 41. We get together at 11 o'clock tonight, dry, 32 degrees, and that sets the stage for temperatures tomorrow morning to drop all the way into the mid-20s. If you're traveling tomorrow and driving or flying, conditions will be great. There'll be some rain, nation's capital up toward New York and Boston early, and then that moves off the coast. And look at what we don't have, any major storms, which is great news across the country. Temperatures tomorrow morning will recover with the help of sunshine, but even with full sunshine around, temperatures still only 35 at noon, and afternoon high temperatures in the middle to upper 30s. Not as windy tomorrow. That will help. The wind will be northwest about 5 to 10 miles per hour. A couple spots may reach 40 in the southern portion of the viewing area. Upper 30s then in Indianapolis. As you look toward Thanksgiving Day, temperatures in the lower 40s. That begins a warming trend, which will get our temperatures back to around 50 by the time we get to Friday. Cold start on Thanksgiving morning, 29 degrees by the time house is filling up with guests potentially. 38 and 41 the afternoon high. Friday, that's the big shopping day, right?
They say that it is.
All right. Temperatures in the morning at 32. We hit 50 in the afternoon. We're still in the upper 40s on Saturday. A couple great days there. Very
smooth
enjoyable.
sailing.
Yeah. But it's always about 68 or 70 if you're doing everything online, right?
Right. Yeah. You control the temperature there. Thanks, Kevin. We are just a couple of days away from Thanksgiving. If you're the one cooking that big meal, we've got a few ideas to help you out.
So if you haven't started thawing your turkey, you'd better hop to it. One chef we talked to says it can take 3 days to defrost a turkey in the fridge. And once it comes time to actually cook the turkey, he says you need to make sure to clean it properly, running it under cold water. And here's something we did not think of if you don't have a roasting rack. When you stick the turkey in the roasting pan, lay carrots and celery underneath the bird to prevent it from sticking. And for checking the turkey temp, you've got to be strategic.
So you want to check it in a few spots. Down here, close to the wing and the breast. And we're almost there. We're at 140, 150. And the other spot you want to check is right here in the joint.
Well, one last trade secret for you. If you want to cook your turkey faster, cook the stuffing in a separate dish rather than actually stuffing it inside the bird. There you go. Tricks of the trade.
Some good pointers there. Well, the holidays are a time for reunions, but when you see your loved ones, there's something you maybe shouldn't do.
We'll explain why you shouldn't make the kids in your family hug you or anyone.
And keeping that last-minute Thanksgiving cleaning safe, the steps you can take to avoid using chemical cleaners to get everything ready.
And live right now, a stretch you might want to avoid. We're seeing an unusually bad backup of traffic on southbound US 31 funneling onto I-465. If you know anyone headed that way, warn them to avoid the north side interchange there. We'll keep an eye on it for you. You're watching the news at 5 here on RTV6.
Welcome back. Recently, we've seen accusations of sexual assault against powerful figures, both nationally and locally.
And now more than ever, it's important to make sure kids feel safe and secure in their own skin. So this new warning from the Girl Scouts today really has us talking.
The organization is telling all of us adults, your daughter doesn't owe anyone a hug, not even around the holidays.
Yeah, the Girl Scouts say telling a child she owes someone a hug just because she hasn't seen them in a while or because they gave her a gift sets her up for negative experiences later in life. Psychologists agree with this. She may question whether she owes another person physical affection when they've bought her dinner or done something else nice for her. The group points out the lessons a girl learns when she's young can influence how she feels about herself and her body as she gets older.
The Girl Scouts recommend giving girls space to decide when and how they want to show affection. This doesn't give them permission to be rude, but the Scouts say there are other ways to show appreciation and love, like a smile, air kiss, or a high five.
Yeah, and this also ties into the issue of forcing any child to hug an adult. Child advocates say that when you tell kids to give someone a hug when they don't want to, it teaches them that they don't have a choice when it comes to their own body.
Right, and consider this as well. If an adult ever tried to touch a child in a bad way, the kid might not speak up. So before you tell your niece or nephew to hug you this Thanksgiving, gauge whether they really want to.
Getting ready to hit the road for Thanksgiving?
RTV6 working for you tonight, digging into what you can expect at the pump and on the road for the big holiday.
And right now, let's give you a live look from our Weather Now camera at the IMS Pagoda at the lights at the Brickyard there. Look at that. You can see all the glittering lights through the New Year's Eve at the track there. That's available and open for you. You're watching RTV6 News at 5.
From the station working for you, this is RTV6 News at 5:30.
And we start this half hour with horrifying details from women who were held captive and discovered last Friday. We just received the court documents today. Beth Vaughn standing by at the live desk with that. Beth?
Mark, the two women say they were held against their will, beaten and raped at a drug house on the Near East Side. Now, this ordeal lasted for days until finally their captors got the women in a car, and that car got a flat tire. Now, that flat tire likely saved their lives because the whole group ended up at the Circle K gas station on South Emerson and Beach Grove. That's where the pair of women were able to call police. Now, since then, 3 men were arrested: 32-year-old Kenneth Braswell, 26-year-old Thomas James, and 35-year-old Jose Nieves. They face several dozen charges and are being held on a $200,000 bond. And it's a ruling that affects children and adults in Indiana who suffer from seizures and chronic pain. Attorney General Curtis Hill ruled CBD oil is illegal in the Hoosier state. The oil contains hemp and is derived from marijuana. Supporters say the drug helps relieve pain and anxiety and helps stop seizures. And it was allowed to be used by anyone on a special list approved by state lawmakers. But Hill points to a ruling in late 2016 by the DEA that classified the oil in the same category as heroin, meth, and LSD. I'm Beth Vaughn. That's the latest from the Live Desk.
Students from Arsenal Tech are raising money and awareness about animal adoption for Face Animal Clinic today. The student group, Thrival Academy, was supposed to hold a pet adoption drive with the clinic today, but a recent robbery at the clinic ruined those plans. But it didn't ruin their spirit. So today, the students were taking $1 Polaroid pictures on Monument Circle to raise money for the clinic and raise awareness for the animals.
This week marks the start of a busy holiday season. From the air to the ground, thousands of Americans are already on their way to their Thanksgiving destinations tonight. RTV6's Nicole Griffin has some takeaways from AAA, helping you prepare to travel.
It's a busy year for Thanksgiving travelers.
We're looking at an overall increase substantially more than what we've seen in the past.
Nearly 51 million Americans are leaving home for the holiday and traveling more than 50 miles. Greg Sider with AAA says a majority will be driving.
The best recommendation I can give is people need to plan ahead. It's going to take you a lot of additional time to get to your point of destination.
And some bad news for all you drivers heading out for Thanksgiving. Gas prices are supposed to be at the highest level since 2014.
If you are driving, get gas today. Don't plan on gassing up at the last minute because especially on Thanksgiving Day, there will be stations that will be closed.
But gas prices won't be the only thing you'll be paying more for.
Well, they're going to see an increase in AAA 3-diamond rated hotel costs. They're going to see an increase in rental car costs.
On the positive side, AAA says airline tickets are cheaper this year. A round-trip flight for the top 40 domestic routes will run around $157. And it's not surprising that many Americans are leaving the cold weather for a warm Thanksgiving.
Of course, Orlando tops the list as usual, but we're looking at Anaheim, California being very popular, Las Vegas, even Honolulu.
During this busy holiday weekend, AAA also expects to help more than 330,000 drivers stranded on the road.
Just make sure your tires are properly inflated, have those batteries tested, make sure that you have a safety kit in your trunk just to make sure in case you have a breakdown.
Sider says the increase in travelers this year is due to a trend of Americans feeling much better about the economy. Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
Checking in on your news feed now. The White House says President Trump and Russia's president talked on the phone today. That conversation covered Syria, Iran, North Korea, and Ukraine, but they're not revealing any specifics. The call comes a day after Russia's president met with Syria's president. There are charges today in the big HBO hack that we told you about earlier this year that impacted the show Game of Thrones. An Iranian national is accused of hacking into the network's computer system and stealing unaired episodes and scripts. And this dog we're going to show you will make you smile. Look at that. Looks like the canine named Nitro is doing push-ups next to these 2 officers from a police department in Alabama. Look at that. They say they're getting warmed up to catch any bad guys who break the law. Hey, he knows the routine, right?
We got to teach our dogs to do that.
Do some push-ups there.
That's awesome. Well, right now, 2 turkeys named Drumstick and Wishbone are headed to Virginia Tech instead of someone's Thanksgiving plate.
President Trump pardoned them today, continuing an annual tradition. Watch.
Drumstick, you are hereby pardoned.
Well, the president also joked about what's happening to the turkeys former President Obama pardoned last year.
I have been very active in overturning a number of executive actions by my predecessor. However, I have been informed by the White House counsel's office that Tater and Tot's pardons cannot, under any circumstances, be revoked.
So where are Tater and Tot now?
Where?
Where? They're also living in an enclosure at Virginia Tech where Drumstick and Wishbone are headed. Honest and Abe, the turkeys former President Obama pardoned in 2015, are still alive in Virginia too, but they're at a different spot called Morven Park in Northern Virginia. They're the oldest living pardoned turkeys. That good life is not cheap. A former staffer at Morven Park tells USA Today annual care for the pardoned turkeys costs up to $25,000 a year.
That's more than probably having a kid.
Hey, well, they're living it up.
Living it up, right. Hey, right now the annual RTV6 toy drive is off to a great start.
And our Kevin Gregory is on a mission, a very special one. Take a look.
I'm with legends of the RTV6 toy drive, the Remax legends.
I heard Santa came back to get our toys again this year. Oh, look at the pretty reindeer.
And look at this pretty ride. You remember last year when we took off?
Let's fly.
Santa's gonna miss his sleigh.
I know, but what a ride.
Whoa, look at the view.
Happy holidays from Remax Legends Brew.
That's great. Great to see. Next in our 5 at 5, he's accused of mailing a bomb. Now we know what comes next for him. Also, a warning for a drug meant to battle the opioid addiction. And it's possibly an explosive situation involving a local beer. Now just ahead.
And all new at 6, step by step how one community is on the trail for more people to call it home.
Right now, a live look down on the south side where crews are working in the dark to complete the construction project at I-465 and I-65. You see that there happening now. That project's running a bit behind, so they are really hustling. You're watching the news at 5 right here on RTV6. RTV6 is tracking several stories tonight in our 5 at 5.
The man accused of sending a pipe bomb through the mail is now set to go to trial. Eric Krieg will stand trial starting January 16th. He's pled not guilty in the case. That bomb exploded in September, injuring a postal worker. Someone else was believed to have been the target.
Authorities are now warning that a drug used to battle opioid addiction is leading to new addictions. The drug called Suboxone was mailed to an inmate at the Bartholomew County Jail Monday night. It helps stop opioids' effects, but it can be addictive itself. We have warning signs for you to look out for your loved ones. That's available on the RTV6 app right now.
And a local brewer is now recalling one of its special edition beers. Taxman Brewing Company put up this post online saying bottles of its vintage 2017 barrel-aged deduction could possibly explode because of excessive pressure. No reports on anyone being hurt, though affected bottles do gush when opened. You can email them to work out a refund.
It's a reminder that the BMV will be closed 2 days this week. All licensed branches will be closed across Indiana on Thursday and Friday for the Thanksgiving holiday. The state says they'll return to normal business hours on Saturday.
The IU Health Cancer Resource Center is now marking 1 year of helping Central Indiana families who face a cancer diagnosis. The Cancer Resource Center is inside the Simon Cancer Center in downtown Indianapolis. They have free information and services for patients and families, including giving out wigs. It's open to all Central Indiana cancer patients, regardless of which hospital they go to.
Keeping that last-minute Thanksgiving cleaning safe.
The steps you can take to avoid using chemical cleaners to get everything ready. You're watching the news on RTV6. Welcome back. We are counting down to Thanksgiving, and with just 36 hours left, that's all you got. You know, getting ready for the big day is more than just cooking the turkey.
Yeah, if you've got guests coming, it's all about making the house presentable in a quick and easy way. Our Annie Taylor is working for you and has some takeaways on how you can do that without the headaches.
Nice and slow.
Frying up a turkey on Friendsgiving is a tradition Scott Lehman has been doing for years.
I come from a family who likes to entertain. My parents entertained growing up, and so I just inherited that desire to want to entertain and make sure people had a good time.
But like most throwing holiday parties, cleaning is more taxing than the cooking.
I always try to make sure that it's at their best on big events like this, because there's going to be pictures and you're going to remember it. But yeah, my friends will absolutely point out things to me. Time to clean.
To help Scott get ready ahead of the big day, we shared some easy hacks to get a spotless home.
So are you willing to try some DIY hacks?
I would love to learn something today.
First things first, the living room. If you want to clean your couch but don't have time to wash the cushions, sprinkle baking soda over the entire surface, let it sit for 20 minutes,
and then vacuum it up.
I hope my couch smells better.
Before Scott lets friends use the microwave to heat up their dish, the science experiment inside needs some cleaning up.
It's extra greasy.
To sanitize and leave it smelling clean, pour white vinegar into a microwave-safe dish. Then add water and a squeeze of citrus juice. Place it in the microwave on high for a few minutes. The steam from the liquid will help all the built-up food slide right off. Now onto the guest bathroom.
Bathrooms, I think, are my least favorite just because they get so dirty so easily.
A sentiment we all share. Easy solution to have it smelling fresh. Put a few drops of essential oil onto the toilet paper roll. With each spin, it will leave the room smelling like a spa. Another way to keep the whole home smelling fresh without spending loads of money on candles, take your favorite smelling car freshener, snap it into your vent, and voila, the air in your home is sweet as can be. As for the unwanted carpet stains, douse the spot with baking soda to lift the stain. Let it sit for 10 minutes, then vacuum it up. To remove the stain, mix 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, 1 tablespoon of dish soap, warm water, mix together, then dip a rag in the mixture and wipe away.
I'm excited for my friends to make a mess afterwards.
Oh, and that couch with baking soda sprinkled on it? It's good to vacuum up now.
Thank you, Annie, for that. Some good tips there.
Yeah, his place is looking spotless there. Hey, let's get a live look from our Weather Now camera there. The sun's setting, the bright lights of the big city. We're seeing it right now.
And Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is going to join us with our forecast, but he's getting ready for all his guests to come into this forecast.
I'm putting those tips to work.
That's right.
Cleaning up the forecast. Actually, there's no big mess in the forecast, so that's good. You guys want that?
Yeah,
Here,
come on.
You guys just
we could clean this desk up.
All right, temperatures at 49 and falling quickly. You know that. In Lafayette, Lebanon, areas north and west of Indianapolis, it's that northwest wind. Here's the quick moving but light shower activity marking the transition from relatively mild to much colder conditions that will come in from the northwest. Heads up Sheridan, Noblesville, Tipton, down to Rochdale, Liston, Brownsburg, and Eagle Creek as those showers come through. Again, it's possible to see a couple snowflakes mix in there. Temperatures are above freezing, but much colder above ground level. You're down to 35 now in Lafayette, while it's 50 in Columbus, 52 in Seymour, 37 in Crawfordsville. There's your little rain snow mix on the very back edge of this. Quickly gone by 9 and 10 o'clock off to the east. A dry and cold start to your day tomorrow. Wednesday temperatures, they'll warm into the upper 30s. That's it. At least we have sunshine to go with that, and the wind will not be as strong as today. Temperatures from west to east or north to south, about a 3 or 4 degree temperature range. That's it through the day tomorrow. We make some progress on Thanksgiving Day. If you like to get outside and take a walk after overeating, perhaps, temperatures will be in the mid 40s to the south of Indianapolis. We break it down through the hourly forecast. 9 a.m. 28, 38 at noon, and then low 40s as we get to the afternoon hours. Friday, comfortable 50 degrees will be the temperature. As we get to Saturday, temperatures a little bit cooler, and the coolest day of the weekend will be on the Sunday. We wake up to 28 degrees with 40 for the high.
You've got to get back to more.
Right
There you go. Right.
All right.
There you go. Back to it, Kevin.
Thank
you.
Thank you. It's a warning for you this holiday season. Fakes of a popular toy being pushed by crooks. How you can avoid falling victim to this scam. That's next. Our primetime lineup tonight includes The Middle at 8 o'clock and then Fresh Off the Boat. At 9 o'clock, the 2-hour season finale of Dancing with the Stars. That's all followed by the news at 11 with Erica Fly.
Well, let's get one last check of your news feed. The U.S. Justice Department is threatening to sue Harvard over its admissions policies. It wants to force the school to turn over documents to see if it violated civil rights laws by discriminating against Asian American applicants. And Walmart has started testing these self-driving floor scrubbers at some of its stores in Arkansas. It tells Fox Business it is not replacing maintenance workers, just freeing them up to do other tasks. And these robotic monkeys called fingerlings are one of the hottest toys of the season. But since they're so hard to find, scammers are taking advantage. Third-party sellers are selling fakes, and they may not be safe. Look for the words sold and shipped by Amazon or Walmart before you buy.
Interesting. Right now, the RTV 6 team is piecing together stories that matter to you.
Let's take a closer look at some of the new things we're working on for you. Coming up on the news at 6. Calls to resign, a growing chorus to get a city councilman charged with child molestation to step down.
Connecting a community one trail at a time, and the plan is to not stop at the city limits.
It's a big week in the gridiron rivalry between IU and Purdue, but there's more on the line than that old oaken bucket. Next at 6.